Hey there, welcome to Abundant Source Raw, and in this video I wanted to talk a little bit about perspective. When I personally was growing up, I always thought that perspective was everything, and that perspective basically creates your reality, and it totally does. What you perceive and what you believe is going to create your reality. Perspective is basically what this human experience is revolving around. Everyone has a different perspective. No two people see things the exact same way, and we're all just perceiving things in totally different ways, sensing things in different ways, and feeling and interpreting things in all different sorts of ways. And so growing up, I didn't necessarily believe that my own perspective was true. I believed that everybody's perspective was true and that nobody's perspective was true. And that really, if we perceive it to be true, then it's true for us. And I felt like that was a pretty healthy perspective right there, but that is still a perspective. And in the past few years, I've come to realize more and more how little perspective actually matters, and that no perspective is true. Like I said before, in this reality of the human experience with our mind and our ego and this body, then your perspective is true for you, and everybody else's perspective is true for them. But if we're talking about the true reality, then no perspective matters. All perspective is illusion, and perspective implies basically separation. And so if you have been following me in my videos, and if you found me, then you probably have been searching and finding other spiritual teachings and have come across this knowledge already, that everything is one and everything is connected, and there really is no separation. We are all just extensions and expression of the one source of God, of the Spirit, and we're not separate at all. And so to have perspective is to think that you are separate from everything. And it's really okay to have perspective. I still have perspective, and I'm sure pretty much everybody on the planet as of now still has perspective, but I recognize immediately that my perspective doesn't actually matter, and that it's not the truth. Because if I was really in line with the truth, then I would have no perspective. I would have the perspective of God, of unity, and of, total oneness. So there would be no separateness, there would be no opinion, there would be no judgment, and that is, in the end, I believe what we're all trying to get to, is we're all being called and drawn towards this unity, back to our source, back to where we came from, back to where we know our authenticity lies. And because of all this external noise and all these different circumstances that have been programmed into us in this human experience, it's very hard to keep even just a healthy, non-biased, open perspective. It's very hard not to have strong opinions about things, because we've been taught that having a strong opinion is a good thing, and that you should have your own perspective. But now it feels so silly to think about why I would want to perceive things in such a limited way. I know that the human mind is not capable of perceiving reality for what it is. I know how limited the human mind is, and I know what it's like to drop perception and judgment and all that, and how good that feels and how peaceful it is. And it's just so silly to think about why anybody would choose the perception of this one little human mind over the perception of God. Why anybody would want to choose to see things in a way that is so separated and so against divinity, when they can have totality and they can have fullness, wholeness, and they can just be their total authentic self which is everything, and they can drop all this anxiety and anger and judgment and all this sadness just by letting go of their perspective, letting go of their beliefs, and understanding that perspective is separation. There's only one truth, and that's unity. And the more you perceive things in different ways, the more you separate from that unity and become part of the untruth. Nothing that you perceive can be true. Absolutely nothing that your human mind is capable of perceiving is true. It's okay to have fun and play around with perspective and see things in certain ways, and it's fun to play around with the mechanics of this universe and this human experience, and to learn more about how the pieces work. But that is not how you'll experience totality and how you'll experience that oneness. We've got to stop looking at the different parts and looking at the different perspectives and beliefs and the mechanics, and we've got to take a step back and look at the whole picture and see the grand design in its fullness. And you can't do that when you're in the dual mindset of perspective. So I think that that's all I've got to say on this right now. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos on fruitarianism, spirituality, and natural living, and I'll talk with you in the next video.